It all started with a phone call I'll never forget. I am John Miller, a young exorcist with years of experience dealing with supernatural forces. A small village in the American West where people live peacefully, but recently they have been facing strange and terrifying events. They needed my help, though they didn't trust me at first. When I arrived at Silver Creek, a remote village near the Mexican border, the atmosphere seemed peaceful at first, but the closer I got, the more I felt something wasn't right. The locals eyed me with skepticism. They thought I was too young to handle the problems they were facing. But soon, they realized I wasn't an ordinary man. What they were facing wasn't just a typical illness. A young woman, Sarah, had recently returned from an abusive marriage and was suffering from a strange sickness that was slowly weakening her body. I knew that something supernatural was attached to her, but the problems didn't stop there. The death of Thiepal, a well-known local shaman, had caused a stir. Thiepal was believed to have died in an accident, but no one could explain what had actually happened. A mysterious death and a restless spirit unable to find peace. When I arrived in the village, I immediately sensed something was off. Strange noises coming from the cemetery, odd lights flickering in the night. The villagers were desperate for answers, but no one dared to touch the rituals. John, something has to be done. I couldn't sit idle. I decided to perform a ritual to help Thiepal's soul rest in peace, hoping to put an end to the chaos and free him from tormenting anyone. The ritual began. I prepared all the necessary items: blood, protective charms, and prayers. But as the ritual went on, things took a dark turn. Sarah, the patient I had been trying to help, began to scream in agony. A sight that no one could have ever imagined. Pieces of bone and sharp objects began emerging from her abdomen. These weren't signs of a typical illness. They were signs of a malevolent force trying to claim her soul. And then, while I was in the middle of the ritual, a loud scream echoed from the village. A man, whom everyone thought was dead, suddenly awoke. But it wasn't a resurrection. It was a monster. A grotesque creature with glowing red eyes and battered skin. A spirit of vengeance taking over the man's body. Now, the village was truly plunged into chaos. People were terrified as they saw the man, or rather, the monster, standing in the middle of the village. He was no longer human. A spirit had overtaken him, and now we had to face a battle no one had prepared for. John did everything in his power to expel the spirit. The villagers tried to help, but they didn't know what to do. Some, instead of seeking peace, wanted to exploit the spirit for their own gain. They wanted to use its power to fulfill their desires. But when you do that, you're playing with fire.
The story doesn't end here. Spirits that can't rest, spirits that have been wronged in the past, will never forgive, and we, the living, will have to pay the price. I realized that respecting spirits and traditions was crucial. We couldn't disregard them, and I began to understand that everything happening in this village stemmed from the mistakes of those in the past. And then I uncovered a horrifying secret: the Lamb family's house, an abandoned house where supernatural forces had taken hold, a house with a tragic past where actions that disrespected spirits and deities led to calamities that could not be undone. This was where the tragic events all began. The Lamb family had once been wealthy and powerful, but when they discovered a wooden statue while mining for gold, everything began to change. They disrespected the spirits, and the price they paid was the downfall of the entire family. The villagers began falling ill and dying one by one. Could it be because of their greed and disrespect for the supernatural that they were doomed? The Thing family didn't escape their fate either. Their wrongdoings in the past had angered the local deity, Santan, the guardian spirit of the village. They tried to perform rituals to appease the deity, but it was too late. No matter what they did, their fate had been sealed. And that was when I realized that everything had a price and we had to pay it dearly. In the end, I had to face a chilling truth. Spirits never truly leave if they haven't been properly honored. Spirits left in anger and hatred will return for revenge. And it was up to me, the exorcist, to confront them. I had to face the past, face the wrongs of the village. And in that final moment, I understood that no matter what I did, these spirits would continue to haunt Silver Creek until all the secrets were revealed. The story ends, but the sense of fear remains. The secrets of the past, the vengeful spirits, still linger somewhere, waiting. And the village, still shrouded in darkness. A story about respect, the mistakes of the past, and the price we pay when we play with the spirit world. You might think it's over, but I can promise you one thing: Silver Creek is not at peace yet.